Since November the 21st for a league goal and a win, and Harry Bunn, well, he might have just sent them home happy. Welcome to Goal Rush, and we start in Sky Bet League One, where Doncaster Rovers manager Darren Ferguson has apologised for his choice of words in his attack on refereeing standards last weekend. He has until Monday to respond to an FA charge. Today, his side were at Shrewsbury.
Plenty of shoulder shrugging in Shropshire in the first hour of this one for Doncaster. It was a story of set pieces. After Matt Sadler had put the home side in front on 21 minutes, they doubled their advantage early in the second period through Norwich loanee Carlton Morris. Darren Ferguson just angry with his team's defending rather than the ref this weekend. He was happy with their response to going 2 down though. The fight back started with a corner of their own, Mathieu Baudry halving the deficit against a normally sound defensive unit. Another sub contributed a controversial equaliser as Rovers maintained their unbeaten run. Tunisian Issam Ben Kemis floated forward and keeper Dean Henderson was deemed to carry the ball over the line, a decision which damaged the Shrews' automatic promotion hopes.
The general consensus from all round is that it's not over the line. I think if it does go over the line at all, it's after he's been pushed in the back of the net. So, all that aside, it's difficult to take.
It's been a difficult week for Plymouth after defender Ryan Edwards was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He was in the stand to watch his side take the lead when they won a penalty. Shea Dunkley's challenge on Graham Carey gave the Plymouth number 10 the chance to score his 9th of the season, as Argyle looked to stretch their unbeaten run to 9 matches. A win for Wigan would set a new club league record of 6 in a row away from home, and they were level within 2 minutes. Nick Powell's cross got a touch from Will Grigg, or so he says, for his first goal since a hat-trick at Oxford before Christmas. Gavin Massey scored 2 wonder goals at Plymouth for Leyton Orient last season, and he returned to score again in first half stoppage time, this to put the league leaders in front. Wigan knocked Bournemouth out of the FA Cup in midweek, and defender Dan Burn, who scored against the Premier League side, got his second in as many matches via a Plymouth head to make it 3-1. The Latics unbeaten in 10 league games now.
Upwardly mobile Blackburn made their first ever visit to Fleetwood's Highbury Stadium, and it didn't take them long to feel right at home. Bradley Dack just can't seem to stop scoring on his travels, and his 28th minute strike made it 6 out of 6 on the road. But Rovers didn't have it all their own way after that, and when Charlie Mulgrew attempted a kamikaze back pass 10 minutes into the second half, Conor McElhaney coolly slotted his first league goal since his double on opening day. In truth, the home side had the better chances after that, but failed to take them, and they were punished when Richard Smallwood picked his spot to perfection late on. There's just no stopping Tony Mowbray's men. It's now 16 unbeaten in the league and into the top 2 for the first time this season.
Both these sides went into this match unbeaten in their last 6 league games, and it was Gillingham who looked set to continue that record when a move started by new loan signing Callum Riley was finished off expertly by Lee Martin. But Scunthorpe have made Glanford Park something of a fortress of late, unbeaten in the league in their last 7 there before today, and they got back on level terms thanks to Josh Morris's 9th of the season. Steve Lovell seems to be getting the best out of his Gills side at the moment, and they were back ahead when Josh Parker, who had set up the first, outmuscled all around him to get on the score sheet himself. An excellent afternoon's work for the visitors was completed by Tom Eaves, who clinically slotted past Rory Watson and put through on goal. Lovell's got his side moving in the right direction.
Bradford's poor run looked like coming to an end at Bristol Rovers. The Bantams were helped into a half-time lead when Ollie Clark's handball was penalised by referee Lee Swaby. Charlie White's penalty flew under the body of Adam Smith, and he couldn't resist rubbing it in. But the Rovers fans behind that goal were to have the last laugh. A second half comeback began with Joe Partington's goal shortly after the interval. And the gas turned it around in the game's final moments. Ellis Harrison's footwork proved bewildering to Nathaniel Knight Percival, who gave away an 84th minute penalty. Chris Lyons kept his cool, and Resurgent Rovers were headed for another encouraging result. They're unbeaten in 5 now and climbing away from trouble. A well-taken third goal by Liam Sercombe confirmed Rovers' victory and Bradford's third straight defeat in League and Cup.
The new year has brought a renewed promotion push from Charlton, which continued against Walsall. Mark Marshall's creativity was matched by the finishing skills of Joe Aribo. When it comes to goal scoring, the visitors regularly rely on the magic of Erhun Öztürk, and he was at it again with his 14th of the season. The home side were looking to make it 3 wins on the spin and took a giant step towards doing just that when Corey Roberts tried to keep up with Steffi Mavididi and got an unfortunate final touch. Mavididi's celebrations would be repeated in the final minute when he had a goal of his own to enjoy. His persistence paid off, which just about summed up Charlton's performance too.
Another good win then for Wigan, for Blackburn too, into that top 2. But let's talk about your old club, the club you supported since a boy, Shrewsbury. Are you surprised that Paul Hurst coming in, what he's managed to do with the team?
I think from last year I am. Obviously he took over and they were totally, chance of staying up were diminished, and he's come in and done an absolutely terrific job, and I know the town are so proud of what they're doing, and I'm watching with great interest because they're developing such a great team, a great team spirit, and it's all down to Paul Hurst and his work.
You managed to go and watch a couple of the games?
Yeah, I get down there as often as I can. Obviously it's difficult with fixture clashes, but I went to the West Ham game a couple of weeks ago, and they've got a real good atmosphere down at the club at the moment, and new training ground as well. Everything's pointing in the right direction, so I really hope they can just hold on to that second place, even though they just dropped out of it this evening. I'm sure they can bounce back.
One word, win promotion?
Yep.
Good. Elsewhere in League One, 7 defeats in 8 have seen Southend remove boss Phil Brown and most of his backroom staff. Their game at Rochdale was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch today. In other managerial news, bottom club Bury sacked manager Chris Lucchetti after just 2 months. In his 8 league games in charge, they took just 1 point and scored no goals. Ryan Lowe and Ryan Kidd were in charge for the visit to Oxford.
More managerial changes for Bury, but the story looked ominously familiar. Right on half-time, Dwight Tiendali, he of Swansea City and Netherlands fame once upon a time, crossing for James Henry to finish past Connor Ripley, one of 4 former Oxford players in Bury's starting lineup. Here's an interesting fact: Bury striker George Miller's the nephew of former referee Mark Halsey. A more relevant fact, he scored their equaliser, having only just returned on loan from Middlesbrough a day earlier. That goal ended Bury's run of over 800 minutes without a goal, and just 4 minutes later, Harry Bunn put the icing on the cake. Some generous defending allowing Bury to end their 8-match losing run.
With AFC Wimbledon starting the day in the relegation places and Blackpool not far off them, this game had an air of extra significance about it. It was the hosts who took the lead in the second half in Route 1 fashion. Joe Lumley couldn't hold on to Cody McDonald's effort, and Liam Trotter showed alertness to put away the rebound. The home side's lead was doubled by the latest addition to Neil Ardley's squad. Substitute Joe Pigott signed from Maidstone United on Monday. His debut goal, 4 minutes after coming on, sealed a vital victory for his new club, who move out of the drop zone.
Just 22 miles of M1 tarmac separates these local rivals, who are right next to each other in a relegation scrap too. Northampton went in front on 16 minutes when John Joe O'Toole made it 3 from 3. Joe Bunny deserves an assist for the cross, by the way, but that lead would stand for only 3 minutes. Osman so bullying the Northampton back line, and his pullback setting up Alex Gilby. The Dons are going well in the FA Cup and have a great chance of reaching the 5th round, but it's just 1 win in 11 in the league now, after former Don Chris Long grabbed the winner shortly before half-time. The result means that Northampton move out of the relegation places to be replaced there by their local rivals. And to round off a thoroughly wretched afternoon for the visitors, substitute Chucks Anike got into a stoppage-time shoving match with O'Toole, which failed to impress referee Brett Huxtable. Perhaps this wasn't the day when neighbours became good friends.
It's nice to win games. It doesn't matter what time it is. You know, obviously it does help for the confidence, and the feeling is great. We want to prolong that feeling as long as possible.
After winning 3 games on the spin, Peterborough had failed to win their last 3 league matches, but performances like this underline their potential to make the playoffs. Junior Marias began the scoring with his first goal since returning from a 3-month injury layoff in December. The honeymoon period's well over for Oldham manager Richie Wellens. Their cause not helped when substitute George Edmondson was sent off for a needless tug on Jack Marriott's shirt. Having got an initial bounce from his players after taking caretaker charge, Wellens has now gone 8 without a victory. They're showing fighting spirit though, with 10 men unlucky not to level, and Dan Gardner hit the post. Peterborough beat off a lot of interest to sign George Cooper from Crewe this week. Chris Forrester with a delightful assist to allow the 21-year-old to score on his debut. Peterborough's director of football, Barry Fry, thinks Jack Marriott can go on to be the best of all of the prolific strikers Posh have produced in the last decade. The EFL's top scorer won and took the penalty to grab his 24th goal in all competitions this season and add another couple of quid to his value.
A rousing minute's applause for ex-Rotherham players who passed away over the last year before their game with Portsmouth, including former Division 3 title winner and fans' favourite Rodney Fern, who died this week. The pace of Jamal Lowe put his old side on the back foot in the first half. He tested the shot-stopping skills of homekeeper Marek Rodak. Pompey boss Kenny Jackett was back at the club he managed for just 39 days last season. Lowe continued to cause problems, getting into another good position, but he was disappointed to see teammate Brett Pittman head tamely goalwards. Just when it looked like we'd all be spreading the news of a draw at the New York Stadium, Paul Warne's outfit produced a finish worthy of striking legend Fern. Former Portsmouth man Michael Smith with the cross on his home debut, and Joe Mattock boosted his team's playoff hopes as they leapt above their opponents in the table.
Wigan, now 10 unbeaten, then have extended their lead to 5 points. Blackburn unbeaten in 16, up to 2nd. Gillingham climbed to 11th. They were 23rd when Steve Lovell was appointed manager in October. Bury remain bottom despite their first win since November. MK Dons and Oldham drop into the relegation zone after wins for AFC